Good morning, my friends. Today I want to talk about something that is more powerful than words, louder than noise, and stronger than arguments. That is silence. Most people underestimate the power of silence. They think if they stay silent, they become weak. But the truth is, silence can change everything in your life, business and relationships. When you choose silence, you allow your mind to settle down. Most people live their lives in noise from the outside world and noise from their own thoughts. But when you sit in silence, you begin to hear what is truly important. You start understanding what your heart really wants, not what the world is forcing you to want. In silence, confusion becomes clarity. Your priorities line up in front of you. The problems that look like mountains begin to look like small stones because your mind becomes calm enough to find solutions. Silence clears the fog of overthinking. It removes the chaos that words and opinions create. You realize which decisions are right for you, who is right for you, and where you really want to go in life. Silence is like clean water washing away the dust from your eyes, allowing you to see reality as it is, not as your fears or ego want to see it. That is why, when life feels heavy, when decisions confuse you, when your mind feels crowded, choose silence. Because in that silence, you will hear the answer that noise will never give you. When you remain silent, people begin to pay closer attention to you. They realize you are not someone who wastes words just to fill empty spaces. In a world where everyone is trying to speak louder to be heard, your silence makes others curious. They start wondering what you are thinking, what you are observing, and why you are so calm when everyone else is reacting. Your words become powerful because you do not speak often. You speak only when it is necessary, and that makes every word you say meaningful. People respect those who listen carefully rather than those who speak carelessly. Silence shows maturity, discipline, and confidence. It shows you do not need to prove yourself to anyone. You do not need to argue to establish your worth. Your silence communicates that your presence is stronger than your voice. It makes people value your opinions more because they know you think deeply before you speak. They understand that your silence is not weakness, it is your quiet strength. And that strength builds a reputation of dignity, wisdom, and self-control. People respect you not because you demanded it with loud words, but because you earned it with quiet presence. When someone is angry and you choose to remain silent, you take away the fuel from their fire. Anger feeds on reaction. It grows when you argue back, when you shout, or when you try to prove your point in that heated moment. But when you stay silent, their anger has nowhere to go. It starts to burn out because it is not getting the response it needs to survive. Your silence becomes your shield. It protects your peace and prevents the situation from getting worse. Many times, when people are angry, they don't actually want solutions. They want to release their frustration. If you respond with anger, the situation becomes a battle. If you respond with silence, it becomes a lesson. Silence gives the other person a chance to hear their own words. They start realizing how their anger sounds. They become aware of their behavior because there is no noise from your side to distract them. Silence also gives you time to control your own emotions. It keeps you from saying words you will regret later. It shows that you are not controlled by other people's moods. You remain in control of yourself. That is true strength. Because anyone can shout back, but only a wise person can remain silent and calm the storm without even speaking. When you choose silence, you create a sense of mystery around you. People become curious about what you are thinking and what your next move will be. They wonder why you are not speaking like everyone else, why you are not sharing every detail of your life, and why you are so calm in situations where others would be panicking. This curiosity gives you power because nobody fully understands what is going on inside your mind. When people cannot read you completely, they respect you more and think twice before underestimating you. Silence makes you unpredictable. And in life, being unpredictable is a strength because it protects your plans from unnecessary interference and judgment. Most people reveal everything about their dreams, plans, struggles, and emotions to the world. But when you remain silent, you keep your intentions hidden. You move quietly, and by the time people realize what you were working on, it is already done. Your results speak before your words do. Silence makes your presence powerful because it creates an aura of depth around you. People begin to see you as someone who knows more than they speak, someone who observes beyond the obvious, someone who thinks deeply before acting. This mystery that silence creates is not about playing games with people. It is about protecting your energy and your goals from unnecessary opinions, doubts, and distractions. It keeps you focused because you are not explaining your every step to the world. In the end, your silent moves will always create louder results than noisy announcements ever can. When you remain silent, you open yourself to true learning. Most people listen only to reply, not to understand. They interrupt, argue, and try to prove how much they know. But when you choose silence, you become a student of life. You absorb lessons from everyone and everything around you. You begin to notice small details that others miss because they are too busy speaking. Silence makes your mind humble. It reminds you that no matter how much you know, there is always something more to learn. When you are silent in front of your mentors, you gain wisdom that their words carry, and even wisdom hidden between their words. When you are silent in front of your failures, you hear what they are trying to teach you instead of complaining or blaming. When you are silent in front of your success, you remain grounded because you listen to life's reminders that pride destroys growth. Silence creates a space in your mind where knowledge can settle deeply. It prevents your ego from interrupting your learning process. True learning does not happen when you keep speaking about what you know. It happens when you listen with the intention to grow. Silence also helps you learn from nature, from your surroundings, from other people's mistakes and journeys. You gain knowledge without having to experience every pain yourself because your silent observation teaches you what words cannot. In this way, silence becomes your greatest teacher, making your learning faster, deeper, and wiser than any loudness ever could. And then there's a time like a llama, and silence is one of the most powerful ways to protect your energy. Every time you speak unnecessarily, you drain a part of your mental and emotional strength. Words take energy because they come from your thoughts, and your thoughts come from your focus. When you waste words on gossip, arguments, complaints, or explanations that are not needed, you are giving away your precious energy to things that do not build your life. But when you remain silent, you preserve that energy within yourself. You keep it for your goals, your learning, your growth, and your peace. Silence creates a strong boundary around you. It prevents you from getting pulled into other people's negativity or chaos. You don't have to respond to every comment, justify every action, or share every feeling. You realize not everything deserves your reaction, and not everyone deserves to know your mind. Silence keeps you powerful because it stops you from becoming emotionally exhausted by meaningless conversations. It allows you to choose your words wisely so that when you do speak, your words carry weight and purpose. Your energy is your life force. It decides how focused you remain, how disciplined you act, and how peacefully you live. Silence preserves this life force by cutting down on unnecessary emotional spending. When you are silent, you also stop absorbing other people's scattered energies because you are not engaging with them beyond what is needed. You remain centered within yourself, strong, calm, and undisturbed by external noise. This is why people who speak less often appear more powerful. Their energy remains intact, their presence remains undiluted, and their silence itself becomes their protection and strength. When you remain silent, you begin to observe things that words can never reveal. Talking often limits your understanding because your mind is busy thinking about what to say next. But when you choose silence, your awareness sharpens. You notice small changes in people's expressions, their body language, their tone of voice, the emotions behind their words. You see what they are not saying, which is often more truthful than what they are saying. Silence trains your mind to read situations deeply instead of just hearing the surface stories. In silence, you start to notice patterns, how people behave under stress, how they react when they are lying, how genuine their intentions are, and where their fears hide. This observation gives you wisdom that words cannot give. It makes you a better leader, a better friend, a better human being, because you understand people beyond their words. Silence makes you aware of the energy in a room. You can feel tension before an argument begins. You can sense sadness behind a smile. You can recognize true loyalty behind simple actions. These observations are invisible to people who are always talking. Silence also lets you observe yourself. You see your own thoughts clearly. You notice your emotional triggers, your strengths and your weaknesses. You begin to understand your mind's patterns. What makes you angry, what inspires you, what scares you. This self-observation helps you grow faster than any conversation could. Because to observe deeply is to understand truly, and to understand truly is to live wisely. In this way, silence reveals the hidden reality that words often cover up. When you embrace silence, your creativity reaches a level that noise can never allow. Most people try to force creativity in the middle of chaos, scrolling their phones, talking constantly, switching between tasks. But true creativity is born in silence, when your mind has the space to breathe, to wander freely without interruption. In silence, your thoughts become organized. Ideas that were hidden beneath your daily noise start to rise to the surface. You begin to connect things in new ways because your mind is no longer busy reacting to external distractions. Silence allows your imagination to expand without limits. It becomes like a quiet room where the best ideas walk in gently and sit with you. In that silence, you start thinking of solutions that you could not see before. You start writing better, planning better, and building better strategies because your mind is calm and focused. Silence removes the pressure to create. Instead, it creates a natural flow where your creativity becomes effortless. The world's greatest inventions, paintings, books, and businesses were born from silent thinking, not from noisy environments. When you are silent, you also listen to your inner voice more clearly. That inner voice carries your deepest wisdom and unique ideas that set you apart from everyone else. Creativity is not just about doing something different. It is about doing something meaningful. And meaning comes from deep thought, not quick noise. That is why, if you want to sharpen your creativity, spend time alone in silence. Disconnect from distractions and connect with your own mind. Because in silence, your mind becomes like clear water. You can see to its deepest levels. And from there, your best creations are born. When you choose silence, you automatically build patience within yourself. Most impatience comes from the urge to react quickly, to respond without thinking, to fix everything immediately. But silence teaches you to pause. It gives you the strength to hold back your words and emotions until the right moment arrives. In that pause, you begin to understand that not everything needs an instant reaction. Not every problem requires immediate solving, and not every situation demands your interference. Silence teaches you to observe before acting, to think deeply before deciding, and to remain calm while others rush. This calmness becomes your greatest strength, because patience is not about waiting without frustration. It is about waiting with confidence and clarity. When you are silent, you do not waste your energy arguing or proving yourself. You realize time will reveal the truth better than your words ever can. You start trusting the process of life rather than forcing your own timings on everything. Silence also teaches you to control your impulses. Instead of reacting with anger when someone provokes you, you remain silent and give yourself time to process your emotions. Instead of rushing into decisions out of fear, you remain silent and allow your mind to analyze all options calmly. This self-control turns into patience, and patience turns into wisdom. Because people who can remain silent in moments of chaos are the ones who remain powerful in moments of success. In silence, you understand that life unfolds at its own pace. You begin to respect that pace rather than fighting it. You see growth happening slowly but strongly, and you stop expecting overnight results. Your silent patience becomes your inner discipline, teaching you that great things are not built in noise and haste, but in silence and time. Silence is the language spoken by those who are truly strong within. Weak people often feel the need to prove themselves with words. They argue to defend their ego, they shout to show their power, and they speak endlessly to seek validation. But strong people do not need to do any of that. Their strength comes from their calm presence, their deep understanding, and their quiet confidence. They know that words can be twisted, misunderstood, or wasted, but silence remains pure and powerful. When you are silent, it shows you are in control of yourself. You do not let emotions rule your actions. You do not react just because someone expects you to. Your silence says, I am strong enough to stay calm even when you are trying to shake me. This inner strength is what makes people respect you. They know you cannot be provoked easily. They realize you think before you speak. And when you finally do speak, your words carry wisdom and purpose. When you finally do speak, your words carry wisdom and purpose. Silence also shows that you have nothing to prove. You are confident in your truth and your capabilities. You do not need to announce your plans or achievements to gain praise. Your results will speak for you. People who are truly powerful often remain silent because they understand that noise does not create real impact. Quiet actions do. Strong people use silence as their strategy. They listen more than they talk. They observe more than they show. They analyze everything deeply before taking a step. This makes their moves precise and effective. In life, in business, and in relationships, their silence becomes their unspoken language that says, I know who I am, and I do not need to shout about it. That is why silence is never a sign of weakness. It is the ultimate proof of inner strength, self-mastery, and powerful discipline. It is the language of people who do not seek to be loud because their silent presence already creates an unshakable impact. Silence is not empty. It is full of answers. Use silence to listen more, learn deeply, and observe wisely, because silence can change everything. Your mind, your relationships, your business, your life. Speak less, observe more, act wisely.